Yo guys, what's up? It's your boy Big Soul Doge here, coming at you guys today with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be explaining to you guys why Gabby Petito is fake news. So if you guys don't know who Gabby Petito is, basically she was a van lifer and a social media influencer who went missing about a month back, and she ended up being murdered by her husband Brian Laundrie, who was still on the run. And guys, so the actual case itself is not fake, I don't believe. I do believe that she was murdered and her husband did murder her. But here's the thing, there are hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of murders in the United States every single week. Just the south side of Chicago has 100 murders a week on average. Just the south side of it. So when we talk about this one murder over and over and over again, you have to you have to wonder why. Okay, she's missing. Is that actually the reason that CNN is talking about it every single day? Because she's a missing woman? Because there's currently about 3,000 missing women in the United States, if not more. There's actually like a lot of missing people in the United States. Especially our natives are very missing. There are a ton of missing Native American women that CNN does not give one single living fuck about. So what is the reason that they care so much about this van lifer social media influencer and why she was murdered? Well, it's actually a lot more sinister of a reason than you think. It's not because they don't care that all these black people are being murdered and all the natives are being murdered and kidnapped and trafficked and stuff. It's not that they don't care about that. It's that they care about what Gabby Petito represented. Because van life is growing in popularity in the United States of America. People retiring early and doing expat or van life. These more cheaper ways of living so they don't have to work. And so you have this woman who wasn't working and then she died. That's a really nice thing to tell people if you want them to stay in their house and work for 40 hours a week. See, you want to do that. Look at what happened to her that just did that. She died because she tried to do that. So you shouldn't do that. You should go to your 40-hour-a-week job and stay inside your house all the time. Even though even though the vast majority of people who die in this world are 40-hour-a-week workers. The vast majority of people who have that happen to them are like that. But this one girl who wasn't like that, who was off the grid, and she was like, oh, look at this girl who didn't work. She died. Do you want to die? No. So you should follow our rules and work for 40 hours a week. So that was the main message that they were trying to get out by pushing the Gabby Petito case, is that you should be working and you shouldn't be doing van life or any sort of these other things. It's the same thing in the 60s. You had these spiritual cults, these people who lived off the grid together. The hippie movement was like that, to where it was like, oh, this hippie person died. Oh, there was a sex crime and related to one of the cults in California. Even though there's like literally millions of sex crimes in the United States, but God forbid if it was in a spiritual cult of people who worked in a commune together and lived in the commune together and didn't have to contribute to the American capitalist society, then that one was going to be talked about for months upon months upon months until it was completely washed into the brains of the American people. So that's why they care so deeply about Gabby Petito. They don't actually give a fuck about Gabby Petito. They give a fuck about the non-workers of the country. And if a non-worker dies, then hallelujah. For these Satan-worshipping elites, that's just how it is. It's just like, oh, if someone's not contributing to billion. Ah, ooh, I hope they die. Ooh, a non-worker died. Ooh, that non-worker died. America, America, we have an announcement to make. We have a non-worker who was murdered in the woods. Do you want to be murdered in the woods? No, I don't think you want to be murdered in the woods. So if you don't want to be murdered in the woods, then I suggest you follow our rules and you work for 50 hours a week and stay inside of your house and never go anywhere if you don't want to be murdered. That's the way to avoid getting murdered in America. And so it's so absolutely gay because you have these cuckold gaywad leftists that are like, oh, I'm too paranoid to go anywhere, so instead of me just not being a paranoid whore, I think I'm going to make every other person live to my standards and put 2 condoms on their penis before they go into Walmart so they don't actually slip into my vagina and give me HIV/AIDS because there's such a high risk of that, brother. And so I think everyone else should have to live up to those standards, brother. Domestic travel? Going to Florida? Going to Tennessee? Not on my watch. I don't want to go to Tennessee, so you shouldn't go to Tennessee. That's just how it should work, brother. And dude, you are literally so cucked. Your wife, like these fucking, first of all, these white women ruin everything. Yeah, no, it's just so fucking retarded. Like these people they want to be paranoid. The United States literally leads in paranoia, anxiety, and depression, and we actually have the most mental illness cases on Earth. Why? Because of the Bilderberg Group, because of the food, because of the media, and because men decide to be cuckold pussies and just put up with everything. And so if you just decide, if you make the conscious decision not to be a cuckold, then the world gets a lot better really quickly. You know what I'm saying? It's just how it is. So everything is fake news, by the way, because they want to scare you. Gabby Petito was fake news. This whole government lockdown because we don't have enough money was fake news. The entire pandemic was fake news. And the only real news, basically, is that God is number one and the United States will always be number one. You know, once you understand that, it's pretty great. It's just like, USA, USA, woo! You know what I'm saying, big fella? Because, look, if you just understand that if you can improve yourself and not worry about the things outside of your control, because here's another thing, what are you actually going to do about Gabby Petito? Like, people always talk about Gabby Petito. People always want to be educated on the subject, you know? But what are you actually going to do about Gabby Petito? It makes no goddamn sense at all. So you're educated on politics. You're educated on the missing natives. You're educated. You have these Amber alerts going to your phone. Ooh, a missing 3-year-old girl 50 miles from here. Burp, burp, burp. On your cell phone. Yes, you need to know about that. You need to know about the missing daughters of America, the missing white daughters of America, I should say, because you're never going to get an Amber alert for a black. That's just never going to happen. So that's kind of funny. And so if you just worry about yourself, you start investing on the stock market, you start eating a little bit healthier, you write your book, if you publish your journal every year, you're going to be significantly better off than people who are educated on stuff that they can't do anything about. And guess what? You're still going to be doing the same thing even though they know more about you, about things that are out of their control. You're still going to be doing the exact same thing about it, which is nothing. And so the only difference is you're improving themselves and they're not. So eventually over time, this is you and this is them. You guys start at the same level, but you're worrying about things that are in your control so you can rise up. And if enough people rise up and become better people, then the country becomes better country without anybody having to worry about the country. Back in the 1980s, we easily understood this. But then we just underwent so much brainwashing. And I think Russia still does understand this, to be honest. we look at the Russian people, they are the only white country whose degeneracy rates have declined over the past 10 years. Whose loyalty rates have gone up. They're not cheating as much anymore. They're not getting as much divorces. They're more happily married. They're just less degenerate in society in total. There's no public degeneracy going on in Russia anymore because of the steps they've took that were not out of paranoia, while America has acted out of paranoia since the 1990s. And so America is very quickly going this way, and Russia is very quickly going this way. Even though Russia was once up here and America was up here, you very quickly meet that slope. And if Russia keeps going, they will overtake the United States as the bastion of the free world, the bastion of white society in total. Everyone will look to Russia instead of the United States in general. Outside of the United States, there will be no question about it. Really, the only thing that America has that Russia doesn't have is cute apartment buildings. Because they're living in commie blocks, and we're living in the cute brick apartments. But at the same time, we're paying $1,700 for a 200 square feet apartment with meth heads all around it in downtown, whatever, Chicago, Pennsylvania, Seattle. You name the city, there's meth heads, drug addicts, tent cities, absolute so much trash and degeneracy. You literally cannot take a walk outside of your home in a major city without seeing a person that you don't know if they're alive or dead or not, and they don't know that either, and the cops aren't allowed to do anything about it. Or you can move to Russia and pay $300 a month, 700 square foot apartment with a clean city because the cops are actually allowed to do things. There are 0 meth heads in the city for the most part. There's very little homeless. There's definitely not any tent cities in these major cities in Russia. And so it's like, what, $200-300 a month for these apartments, and I'm supposed to believe that it's so horrible. The most worthless Russian woman is pretty equivalent to the best American woman, and that's pretty sad in itself. And it's like that with a lot of things. It's like Russian women, American women, the Russians have more workers' rights now. They're entitled to a month of paid time off. Americans get 0 vacation time, period. Even on paid vacation time, they get nothing. They don't have to be given anything. Russians have a month of PTO. And they work at similar hours, do everything like that. And so I'm telling you guys, Russia is going to overtake the United States if we cannot figure out our paranoia issues and just become based and sigma-peeled and recognize that everything is fake news because of the Bilderbergs and things like that. Really, the only real news is like Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes are pretty good commentators, but all the real news people, they get put in prison. Such as Fred Hampton all the way up to a Gypsy Crusader and Eric Snowden. They get either shot or put in prison if it's actually real news. So that's how you can tell if it's fake news or not. If they're alive and they're walking the streets and none of the elites have a problem with them, people such as Don Lemon, it's obviously fake news. Every single word that comes out of their mouth should not be believed at all. And that's all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!